Pulse 95. Between local lines, notes from the emirate.
Yes, notes from the emirate, and so much to do in the emirate of Sharjah. We are celebrating Eid al-Adha here from the morning Majlis on Pulse 95 Radio, and we are asking for your suggestions on 4215. Text us at 4215. Tell us, what are you suggesting for us to do on Eid al-Adha? What are you doing on Eid al-Adha? And we will be giving you a shout out on Pulse 95 Radio. Just don't forget to write your name. So text us at 4215. Now, one destination that could be on your agenda and on our agendas as well during Eid al-Adha, besides Khorfakan, besides going to Suhub Rest House, having a daycation basically in Khorfakan, because there's so much to do in Khorfakan. Really, there's the Al-Rufaysa Dam. There is the what else do we have besides the amphitheater? Khorfakan Amphitheater. Now we have Al-Suhub Rest House, and we can also go hiking.
Yeah,
right?
the Rabi Mountain Trail. Yeah.
And what else do we have?
What else you can do is have some of the wonderful delicacies that the city has to offer, particularly when you go down to the Khorfakan beach area. You can expect to pay, somewhere around 30 to 40 dirhams or even 50 for a nice gourmet dish with wonderful views of the beach. Or you can
Spark with the family.
Yeah, that's
very,
true.
very nice.
True. That's a decent place. It's going to get busy, so don't be too disappointed if you get stuck in traffic or can't find a spot to pick or to set up camp / make a picnic. It's going to be a bit warm as well, so be mindful of that.
Yeah. And another location as well that is just happens to be like a popular leisure destination among UAE's residents is also the Al Majaz Amphitheater. Al Majaz waterfront.
Yes, that's my favorite place to go.
I know it is. And it's also known for being a key tourist attraction on Sharjah's Khalid Lagoon. It hosts a variety of artistic and entertainment activities throughout the whole year, including film screenings, stage shows. It's considered actually one of the best organizers of the UAE's New Year's Eve fireworks as well. It's a beautiful place. It has a mix of local and international food and beverage outlets. Basically flanked by the lagoon on one side and some of the city's most stunning architecture on the other side. And just actually during this weekend, in fact yesterday, they actually unveiled the football field at Al Majaz waterfront, and it was witnessed by a lot of top officials and a lot of people from the sports sector, obviously. And it was held in partnership with Falcon Sports, and the event was a success for sure, and fans of the sport basically they relished a unique opportunity to meet a number of the UAE's top football legends, including the likes of Al Wasl Club and one of UAE national football team's top scorers, Fahad Khamis, and also Bakhit Saad, and so many more.
Yeah, I'm just waterfront. Wow. I mean, it's gonna be bustling with activity this Eid al-Adha. So on the first day of Eid al-Adha, that's where the fireworks are gonna be at 8 p.m. You're gonna have a wonderful view of the Khalid Lagoon. And whenever you visit the waterfront between July 20th and 23rd, you're going to find live entertainment. There'll be stage shows, roaming parades with artists, acrobats, celebrity impersonators, live music, and so much more. You're even going to have stilt walkers and people playing Disney characters. Aladdin, Jasmine, the genie even might pass by as well. There's so much to do there also in terms of food and play areas. Al-Muntazah Parks in Sharjah will also be marking Eid al-Adha from Tuesday to Thursday with dance shows and parades starting at 6 p.m. Then they're going to be taking place at 7:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. So at Al-Muntazah Parks, they'll have themes going on like sea waves, oriental peacocks, and happy Harlequins.
Public parking is going to be free too.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
It's going to be spectacular. Yes. And also in Khorfakan, the Khorfakan Beach Walkway is going to host a roaming circus parade, complete with a human statue, a wheel, and so much more. So it's going to be a wonderful Eid al-Adha break. So much to do across Sharjah. And I'd love to hear where you're going to be during this Eid al-Adha. Text us at 4215.
Now, the big question a lot of people might be having is that viewing spot open in Khorfakan? Well, it's worth a try. The authorities are saying that it is going to be open from the Eid al-Adha holidays, which begins tomorrow. From what I understood from the guys on the ground, they said 22nd of July it will open. But it's a great spot to go check out, and even if you, I think it'll be great to drive up there and check it out, but do so early in the mornings, to be honest, guys. The weather is beautiful in the morning when it's not too hot. It's great to capture the cityscape from there before the big crowd that is expected during Eid al-Adha. Yes, post 12 noon or 2 p.m. you'll expect to see some traffic on the Khorfakan highway, mainly because of the big turnoff towards Shees Park. So there is lots to do over there. But what I'm really excited about eventually in a few days, a few weeks down the line, is the opening of the 3-kilometer hiking trail between Rafisa Dam as well as the Suhub Rest House. So that's going to be great because that's going to be an accessible hike. 3 kilometers isn't too long of a hike. It's very, very beginner level, and I'm sure you guys can do it. And of course, there's lots to explore and check out in the Emirate of Sharjah. Muntaza Park is a particular favorite amongst those with children, so if you want to go down there, you can do that. If you want to learn a bit more robotics, Al-Qasba is the place to be. So lots of places for you to get involved. One thing that I'm loving about Majaz Waterfront is that 50 dirhams you spend in any of the eateries, you enter a raffle draw to win 3,000, 5,000 and 10,000 dirhams, and a grand prize to walk away with a BMW X2 2022. This means my plans of spending my Khorfakan holiday or Eid al-Adha will change slightly.
Let's agree that if you get the BMW, you have to give it away to someone that needs it.
That is going to be my automobile.
Let's underline the word needs. Because you don't need it. Other people do.
I aspire to drive that. I do.
At least give one of your cars that you currently use to people who need it. And take the BMW. If you win it. Oh, he doesn't like the idea.
No, he's not. He's taking too long.
We'll consider it. We will consider it.
But another thing worth mentioning is the Eid prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's very important because Muslims who get to perform the Eid al-Adha prayer, they get to perform it this year in congregation, obviously, and it's offered on the first day of Eid al-Adha, which this year falls on July 20th. So there are some set of guidelines that go along with it for sure that have been specified by the National Emergency Crisis and Disasters Management Authority. The maximum period of the post-prayer sermon is limited to 15 minutes. Doors of musallas and mosques will open 15 minutes prior to the start of the prayer, and the places of worship will be closed immediately after the prayer. Worshippers need to bring their own prayer mats. Social distancing, obviously, stickers, they will be placed. COVID positive individuals and close contacts are strictly forbidden from attending those prayers, and those aged below 12 and above 60, they're advised to offer the prayer at home. And access will not be granted to service facilities like washrooms, ablution areas, and water dispensers. And obviously, the traditional practice of handshakes and hugs and all of that after the prayer is definitely forbidden. And worshippers are not allowed to gather at the places of worship before or after the prayer. So let's limit everything to 15 minutes. It's going to be open 15 minutes prior to the start of prayer. The prayer is 15 minutes, and that's it. We go home safely.
Safely indeed. A couple of bit of announcements for that. Sharjah prayer timing is going to be 5:53 a.m.
on the 20th.
Yes.
Of July.
Yes. Tuesday, 20th of July. Let us know on the text lines 4215 what you're planning on doing. 8 p.m. is the fireworks. Once again, reminder for Al-Majaz Waterfront as well as for Arada's Al-Jada district as well. So lots of places to catch those fireworks. You don't have to congregate in one particular spot, but so much to explore and celebrate here in the Emirate of Sharjah indeed. Stay with us on Pulse 95. We shall return right after the business headlines, and we leave you with lots of musical entertainment as we conclude the discussions here in the programme in the next hour. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Pulse 95.
That's right. Text us at 4215 to join the discussions we're having here on the Majlis. And we're talking about safety protocols being enforced across the UAE. Major announcement from Abu Dhabi over the weekend. New regulations for entering the emirate of Abu Dhabi that you need to be aware of. So starting tomorrow, anybody arriving to the capital, Abu Dhabi, must provide a negative PCR test that is taken within 48 hours of arrival and within 24 hours if providing a negative DPI test result. Now, this is confirmed by the Abu Dhabi Emergency, Crisis and Disasters Committee, which has stated that visitors arriving via PCR now have to take a second test on day 4 of entry if you're going to be staying for more than 4 days, and an additional test on day 8 for those staying 8 days or more. Meaning if you're staying 8 days or more, you're going to be having 3 PCR tests. 4 days or more, it's 2 PCR tests, and less than that, then you're going to have to take that PCR test for your entry to the capital.
There's so many regulations now being issued from the capital of Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi residents, they must remain also indoors unless absolutely necessary, starting midnight until 5 a.m., starting this Monday, tomorrow, after authorities announced the resumption of an extensive disinfection campaign to combat the pandemic during Eid, because everybody's going to be out and about and probably like staying out late. So they're trying to refrain people from doing that for their own health and safety for sure. So members of the public can only leave their homes during this period to get essential supplies such as food and medicine. But people must apply for a permit to leave their homes from Abu Dhabi police, and those permits can be requested online at adpolice.gov.ae.
Yeah, the big news is that there is no timeline given for this as well. So it is going to be stay-at-home instructions from midnight until 5 a.m. And all public places will have limited capacities. So if you were one of those who's booked a staycation in the nation's capital, Abu Dhabi, be mindful of that, really, because then you must stay in your hotels. And another aspect is earlier, your PCR test was valid for 7 days with the E sign. Now, even if you're vaccinated, non-vaccinated, whoever you are, you're meant to take a PCR test that's going to be valid only for 2 days. And if you've taken the DPI and were hoping to do the mini staycation thing, then do a PCR test on day 3 of your entry into the nation's capital, Abu Dhabi. And where to book your tests is Sharjah is the easiest one, to be honest. The drive-through is going to cost you about 65 dirhams in the nation's capital, Abu Dhabi. But those are the things that you need to be mindful of. Now, in terms of the general life, in Abu Dhabi, it is pretty standard that things do get very quiet after midnight anyway. So hopefully it's not going to bother people too much, unlike Sharjah and the other Emirates where, you know, there is a bit of a nightlife when it comes down to having those nice late-night shawarmas and a bit of a cocktail juice to go with the side. A nice Hassan Matar as well if you fancied it. But another thing to be mindful of is that rain and cloudy weather is set to persist today as well, which is nice. Were you guys washed up by the rain yesterday?
No, I was at home.
I did. I
didn't
walking
witness
out.
it.
I was
No.
walking outside too. I got rained on.
Really?
But it's nice.
I love rain.
It was a gift because it's so hot these days.
I know.
And then yesterday I come out and wow, it's raining.
I'm so
I don't
sad
mind
that I
this.
missed that.
No,
I
it's
really
actually-
want some rain.
It's actually really nice, to be honest.
So there's another. It's coming today again.
It's
We have more.
expected to remain so.
Okay.
It depends on different areas on how the torrential downpour is going to be. So I was obviously commuting to the nation's capital, Abu Dhabi. Before that, I noticed the drizzle happened. So I went to take my car for a nice wash. Drive to the nation's capital, and then
Gone
it
is the wash.
was torrential downpour. Not even like a drizzle, torrential. It was ridiculous. So
Did you wash it from inside?
Not from the inside.
Oh,
It was
that's
only
sad.
a
I wanted to tell you, like, at least it's clean from the inside.
It's always clean from the inside.
That's good. That's
yeah,
good.
It's always clean.
Yeah,
from the
that's true.
inside. I do have a nice favourite car wash place around the corner from the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, which I do frequent whenever I do get a chance. But it's always good to keep your cars clean and then be careful as well out and about on the roads.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I just want to say something for Abu Dhabi. Since we're talking about Abu Dhabi actually, they've announced also COVID-19 measures for those celebrating Eid al-Adha in the capital.
Oh, yeah.
So regarding the sacrifices, now the sacrifice donations, distributions and payments, they are to be arranged with charitable organizations within the UAE. This can be done via only a couple of apps that have been approved by the Department of Municipalities and Transport. And those three apps that are approved for this purpose are Zabihati, Zabayih al-Jazeera and Zabayih al-Imarat. So only those three apps are being approved by Abu Dhabi for sacrifices. And sacrifices must only be conducted at approved abattoirs that provide drive-through services to customers only. So procuring the services of itinerant butchers offering at-home services is definitely prohibited.
Yeah, that's right. And to relay advice from health authority as well, the health authorities from the UAE have said that try to extend Eid greetings and wishings using online communication platforms. Try to avoid social gatherings and instead interact with friends and family virtually. Also, make sure that senior citizens and those suffering from chronic conditions do limit their outings whenever possible. They also said avoid giving gifts, especially money, to children, and send money digitally to avoid bank visits as well. So those are the safety guidelines issued ahead of the Eid, and I'd like to wish you all in advance a happy, blessed Eid. Let us know on the text lines at 4215 what you're going to be doing then. Until then, stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Pulse 95.
Well, on to Western Europe, where catastrophic flooding has killed more than 160 people, with hundreds more missing, according to authorities, as large-scale rescue efforts continue amid rising water, landslides, and power outages. Now, we've seen some shocking images coming out of Germany and Belgium, showing entire villages plunged underwater, with cars wedged in between collapsed building, debris everywhere, and these floods are widespread. We've seen footage from Netherlands, from Luxembourg as well. Extreme rainfall and flooding, and authorities are scrambling right now to deal with the situation. We've got tens of thousands of people evacuated and infrastructure collapsing left and right.
Well, European leaders, they have blamed climate change for those floods, which have also affected Switzerland, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. And experts say that global warming makes torrential rainfall more likely. The world has already warmed up by about 1.2 Celsius since the industrial era began. Now, at least 143 people are now known to have died in the floods in Germany, including 4 firefighters. Rescue teams, they were hampered by difficult conditions on Friday, leaving relatives of the missing waiting anxiously for news. But by Saturday, the authorities said numbers of people unaccounted for had been steadily decreasing. And the states of North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Palatinate and Saarland, they have been the worst affected by those by the rainfall, in fact. And though the risk of further flooding is diminishing, there is growing concern about another dam in North Rhine-Westphalia, southwest of the city of Bonn. And inspectors say that large parts of the structure, they have come away, leaving it extremely unstable, and more people may be asked to leave their homes as well.
Look, at the moment, it's all about climate change, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a very terrifying situation in terms of Western Europe facing that record amount of rainfall. We've also seen the development in Ireland as well, in Northern Ireland, in fact, and they said that they received the highest temperatures ever. Not even few months, few years, just ever. It was the hottest day on record, and if you were to think from the United Arab Emirates perspectives, it's a bit exaggerated. The temperatures were about 31.2 degrees Celsius. That's our winter. But still, it is record-breaking temperatures because that part of the world is not used to it. And that part of the world also being at slightly higher altitude than it does. The sun's rays do hit you a lot harder than normal as well. And the thing is, in Western Europe itself, lots of large parts seeing little villages and towns being wiped out. Very, very alarming.
Well, scientists, they have been predicting for years that summer rainfall and heat waves would become more intense due to human-induced climate change. And the fact that other parts of the northern hemisphere, they're currently suffering record-breaking heat waves and fires, this should serve as a reminder of just how much more dangerous our weather could become in an ever warmer world, for sure. And scientists, they're saying that governments must both cut the CO2 emissions that are fueling extreme events and prepare for more extreme weather. Now, in the UK, which is hit by severe flooding, obviously, the government's Advisory Climate Change Committee recently told ministers that the nation was even worse prepared for extreme weather than it was 5 years ago. And only this week, the UK government told people that they don't need to reduce flying because technology will solve the emissions problem. Now that's a notion that most experts consider a gamble, for sure.
Yes, indeed, Rania. And a professor of hydrology quoted on the BBC, Hannah Cloak, said the deaths and destruction across Europe as a result of flooding is a tragedy that should have been avoided. She said forecasters issued alerts early in the week, and yet the warnings were not taken seriously enough, and preparations were inadequate. Now, if you're wondering how climate change causes flooding, global heating causes more water to evaporate. This leads to an increase in the amount of annual rain and snow. At the same time, a warmer atmosphere means it can hold more moisture, which also increases the intensity of rainfall. And rather than gently watering plants, this intense rainfall leads to flooding like the one we're seeing in Northern Europe right now. Scientists saying this is pretty much driven by human activity, and there needs to be a lot of pressure on countries around the world to try and mitigate this and prevent this from happening, because it's something that'll continue to escalate and get worse.
Certainly is. I think the whole world will keep a close eye on this because apart from the pandemic being a massive threat to us, the bigger threat still looms, and it is the world of climate change. And Greta Thunberg was in the limelight last year, still continues to be whenever there is an intense tweet from her side. But she was right. You know, things aren't the way they're supposed to be at the moment. And global warming certainly is something to be worried of, because these floods, these devastating reaction by Mother Nature was a little bit unheard of a few years ago, but now things are becoming far more frequent. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Do get involved on the text lines 4215 should you wish to be sharing your opinions. But the big story for the day and for the week, apart from the Eid festivities, is the day of Arafat and Hajj as well. 60,000 pilgrims have started to pour in to the holy city of Mecca. So we'll talk to you about all of that. Stay with us. This is The Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95. Now, I would like to hear your opinion on the conversation we're about to have. We're going to be talking about language and new words that we've been using, especially over the past a year and a half or so during the COVID-19 pandemic, because the official dictionaries have now been updated, and there are all sorts of new additions that reflect the realities of our current situation. And some of the words popularized by the coronavirus pandemic include side hustle. Now, that is in the dictionary. There's also oof, which it's interesting because I've been using that one lately too, and I never really
have.
Yeah, is it a new occurrence? Because I never thought about this critically, but now that I'm reading this news story, it says oof has been added to the dictionary, and I'm like, yeah, I've been using that more and more this year. It's almost like something I just tell people when they text me something and I want to
Yeah.
feign excitement, pretend to be excited about what they tell me. So I'm like, oof.
I love that it's now in the English dictionary.
Yeah.
Because Arabs, we like to say oof, 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 oof.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like close to it. So now they've like Americanized it, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
in English. So now it's oof. Just one oof is enough.
One oof
We
is
say
enough.
oof, 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 you know?
According to
So I'm glad.
Oxford language, it is expressing alarm, annoyance, or relief.
Oof.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oof.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
Like,
useful
oof,
word.
like, it's so useful.
You can use it at
And
any
it's easy.
situation.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone can use it.
Good thing,
Kids.
bad thing, sarcastically,
Yeah.
anything.
According to Urban Dictionary, oof originates from the death sound effect of an online game known as Roblox.
Oh, even that influenced the word.
Wow. That is interesting. There's also side hustle. Now that's an official introduction to the dictionary. Now, if I thought about the word, I thought it was in use for a long time, but apparently now it's getting in the dictionary. That's a very useful word too.
It's useful because after the pandemic, you need a side hustle.
You definitely do.
You do. A lot of people are doing it now. They're like, you know what? One hustle is not enough.
Yeah.
You know, we need a side hustle. One job, one paycheck. Apparently, it's not enough anymore, especially with the pandemic and the implications it had on our world. So yeah, it needs to be.
Definitely.
We need that word.
We
for
do.
Sure.
And there's deplatform as well. I think that word is like if you were in the Twitter sphere and you're reading about journalism and people getting blocked from Twitter and Donald Trump being removed. So a lot of people have been
Yeah.
using deplatformed over the past couple of years more as
yeah.
well. So that's one of the other official entries to the dictionary too.
There's also doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So that is the practice of obsessively checking online news for updates, especially on social media feeds, with the expectation that the news will be bad, such that the feeling of dread from this negative expectation. Wow, that's a
People are also talking about cultural appropriation now. Like that's a thing. So if someone's wearing, like, let's say I'm an Arab person, but I'm wearing clothes that belong to the Indian culture, someone might accuse me of cultural appropriation. People are more culturally sensitive now, and that's being reflected in the dictionaries as well. It's just total like 2021 vibes now, the way people are a little bit more sensitive about the things they say, things that they had normally not thought up much about 10 years ago are now things you can't do. So now the dictionary reflects those changes in the culture as well.
y'all is also
That's
added.
very-
Y'all,
that's
like
classic.
you all.
Yeah.
Y'all. Everybody's saying that now.
What
What's
about
up, y'all?
What was zaddy? I've never come across this term zaddy. Apparently that means an attractive man who is stylish, charming, and self-confident.
Oh, Zaddy. I want to
Are
start
you
using
hinting
that.
at something like we have to call you Zadi from now on?
No, just find this word very...
Yeah.
I've never heard of it, and it's made it on top. I don't know. I mean, it's great to see these words that when you play Scrabble, now you'll be okay because you tried to use these unheard of terms, and now they've managed onto the dictionary. So now,
Yeah.
whenever you play that game, you're in safe hands.
Well, it's interesting that the regional variants of y'all, because I mean, people think of, for
Yeah.
example, America as like one thing, but actually it's so many different places, and they all have their own regional variants. So y'all, if you're in Pennsylvania, people say yins.
Yins?
Yes, referring to a group of people. That's in Pittsburgh, especially. They just say yins. There's also yous. That's been also added to the dictionary. There's you-ones. as well. So, like, every-
you ones, I get it. That's
Yeah.
where it's from. That's
So-
where it's derived from.
Yeah, but Yenza has to be my favorite. But yeah, just like you have different like every cola has.
But it doesn't
its
match, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't add up. Like, what are yins doing?
People
What are
speak
y'all
weird.
doing? It's like easier, you know?
I guess people speak really weird. I'm sure
Yeah.
Arabs have their own like very
Lingo.
strange English as
Yeah.
well, like the way we use English.
Yeah.
But yeah, text us at 4215. Let us know if you've been using any interesting slang. I think that should make it to the dictionary. I think they should pay attention to the way Arabs are using words and put those into the dictionary. They heard oof for sure. I think so.
Yeah. They took it from us. I'm pretty
they
sure.
totally did. They stole it from
They
us.
stole it from us.
I,
Yeah.
I used to.
We're trendsetters.
I used to think that the longest the word in English is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oof.
And I thought, what does that mean? But it turns out that it's just a song just a word from a song. from musical movie Mary Poppins, and that's it. So I actually thought it meant something, but sadly it doesn't. So there we go.
There's a 45-letter word.
Yes.
It's for a disease. That is the longest English word that is defined in a major
Can you
dictionary.
pronounce it,
I
please?
mean,
It's difficult.
You have to give it a shot.
But you're the medical one in the group.
okay.
So.
All right, I'll do it. Okay. But it's going to take a while. Pneumono, ultra, microscopic, silico, volcano, coniosis.
Wow.
That's one word, by the way.
That's
It's a tongue twister. if you were to
It's a
Now say it
lung
fast.
disease.
No.
It's a lung disease, more commonly known as silicosis. They could just say silicosis. Why do they have
why
to
do they have to do that?
Pneumono ultra microscopic silico volcanosconiosis.
Word of the day.
Well done. Getting there. Getting there, indeed. Well, what's getting there is also a bit of Ed Sheeran, as well as a bit of a traffic update to keep you moving throughout your morning commutes. And we'll continue the discussions from there on. So do stay tuned to Pulse 95. We'll gear up for some events and festivals that the whole nation is looking forward to as well. Because we've got the Eid al-Adha Fair in Sharjah Expo. And if you're in the central region, then the Eid Date Festival is also something that you can add to your calendar. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95.
Between local lines, notes from the emirate.
Notes from the emirate, indeed. So if you're one of those who's not going on a staycation, not going anywhere else, and would like to spend your money buying things that you can take back home, you've got a few options here in the Emirate of Sharjah. You've got the Eid al-Adha festivals, or the shopping market that is set up in the Expo Centre Sharjah, where you can venture out to and make your valuable purchases should you wish. So that's an interesting option, guys, to consider. But if there is anything else, then it would be a bit of a beach. Oh, not a beach, a Eid Date Festival, also kicking off on the 22nd of July. So what do we fancy taking?
Well, the Director General of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mohammed Al-Awadi, speaking ahead of the Eid Dates Festival, said it's going to be an annual gift to please the people of Sharjah's central region, and spoke on what is going to be on show here. He said that there will be prizes throughout the festival. In fact, allocated to competitions is 500,000 dirhams, a total of 1.5 million dirhams in prizes as part of this festival, which aims to support the developmental process in the eastern and central regions as well. And there'll be your fair share of pickings and in a way to support the farmers out there. And whenever these things come by, I always learn more and more about the different varieties of dates. There seems to be an endless amount of those.
It does, and always different varieties indeed. But apart from varieties, it is the options of buying things for your loved ones. Because if you go down to the markets or the Eid al-Adha festival, or a market that's set up in an expo centre Sharjah, it kicks off at about 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. So great place to buy new things. But if you were looking for gift items in particular, what would you suggest, Rania? Any particular item you'd say is hot on the market to buy? Flats. People love flats.
Flats?
The shoes.
Oh.
People love flats.
Shoes in general.
Yeah.
Get some jewelry. Gold.
Oof.
Yes.
Now I can see Rania's eyes light up.
Sparkle.
You see me on YouTube, you can see
Yes.
that my eyes did lit up. Yeah, gold. That's
Gold.
yeah.
Not
Gold.
diamonds.
Not diamonds, no.
Not.
They will lose for sure. I mean,
No resale value at all.
no
For
resale
sure.
value
For sure.
no ROI for diamonds at all. For sure, no return of investment. Yeah, they will lose its value, guys. Don't be like, don't be overtaken by the diamonds and all of that.
What
Like,
really
no.
baffles me is people say when they buy these expensive bags and purses, they say it's a big return on investment.
Not everything. Not everything. You have to know. Like, when you buy a Rolex, it's different than buying other brands. For
Sure.
example,
Casio watch.
I don't want to name anything, but I
Apple Watch?
remember I bought a brand watch. I'm not going to name it.
Yes.
But it's not a Rolex. And when I came, I wanted to resell it. I mean, I bought it for thousands of dirhams. And when I wanted to sell it, nobody gave me more than 400 dirhams for it.
No
Yeah.
way.
So
No
not
way.
every single brand. So you have to also be an expert on this. Oh, there are some people that actually like know what they buy and what's actually demanded in the market. So yeah.
Let us know if you've been
But
to
gold,
the...
do it.
Go
Yes.
do it.
Buy gold.
Gold, do it. Let us know on the text lines 4215 if you've been to the Eid al-Adha Expo Centres event, which kicks off at 11 a.m. every day, and 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. It'll be great to get your thoughts on the airwaves. For the time being, the Majlis shall be heading off. We let you enjoy the Eid al-Adha festivities. Remember, guys, 22 different programs being offered by the Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, and Eid al-Adha has a special programming here for Pulse 95. We'll be back again, keeping you updated, and it's going to be 12 noon onwards. So if you are tuning in to Pulse 95 or any of the radio stations, then of course come on to Pulse 95 and let us celebrate Eid, all of us together. But for the time being, if you would like to catch up with any of the discussions here on the program, where can they do that?
Do head over to our SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Just type Morning Majlis in the search bar. Also, be sure to subscribe and like our YouTube videos at Pulse 95 Radio. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a fantastic Eid. See you next time.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.